we do know that it was tanks, troops, bulldozers firing at a number of what the army says are Hamas positions, Hamas infrastructure and Hamas militants in the northern part of the Strip. As you mentioned, these troops now have retreated and are back on the Israeli side of the Gaza border ahead of what the Prime Minister says coming out last night to speak to the country is a ground incursion that will happen. It won't happen now. But he has levelled a very strong warning at Hamas militants, calling them dead men walking. Now, there were reports coming out overnight. We do understand that the US and Israel have potentially come to an agreement for Israel to hold off on this widely anticipated ground incursion to give the United States more time to get air defence systems to the wider Middle East region to protect its assets, its personnel in the greater Middle East after a number of attacks from what it says are Iranian-based proxies. We're talking here places like Iraq and places like Yemen. So, look, it certainly does seem as though the IDF is moving ahead with these plans for a ground incursion. It did say that this, what it's calling relatively large incursion, the biggest so far that's been seen, was in a bid to prep the ground and gather intelligence. We do need to remember that there's so much pressure on the Israeli government right now, given that there are at least 220 hostages still being held in the Gaza Strip by Hamas. And let me tell you, the amount of pressure from the public here on the ground is intense. There are some families sitting outside the IDF headquarters here in Tel Aviv demanding that Israel do more to release these people. Now, also just briefly in the north, the tension up in the north continues. The IDF says that it intercepted this morning a ground-to-air missile fired from Lebanon, with the Home Front Command also coming out to say just a short while ago that these evacuation orders for residents in southern communities and also in the north, we know there are around 200,000 people who've been evacuated, they will remain in place now until the 31st of December.